Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, and sometime co-hosts Miss Purrington and Mookie. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our advice column, Rochelle Takes on Comedy, and we've got a festivals page, an FPIA page where you can see the full history of the contest. You can keep up with us on Instagram and TikTok at Comedy Wham or on our Comedy Wham Facebook page. And of course, we're best known for our events page for live shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW. If you're a comic in those cities and want your show featured on the calendar, go to the events page and click Submit a Show. You can also click Submit a Show from the homepage, comedywham.com. Tag us on your Instagram stories and we will share your show promo. Looking for ways to support all these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Search for Comedy Wham on Patreon and check out our subscriber perks. Now let's get back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and will usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today, I am talking to the co-host of Business Hours and the Buddy System with his BFF, written up in the 2022 Top 10 Austin Comedy Stories in the Austin Chronicle. Gee, who was responsible for that? And among the many testimonials on his website, you'll find this one. I look forward to the rest of the world loving him as much as I do. Who could possibly have said something so kind and wonderful as that? And you will find him performing all around Austin. He was a surprise 2019 FPIA finalist, just kind of coming out of nowhere and impressing us all. And now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Carlos Morrison.
Hi. That was such a nice introduction.
You're welcome. I assume that you have your website memorized and you know who that quote was from.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna upset somebody if you don't remember who that one was from.
That's got to be my mom, right?
Yeah, that was your mom.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, don't get this wrong, Carlos. As a mom, you do not want to get this wrong.
Yeah, she's my number one fan for sure.
Yeah. I hope it wasn't too forward to say that the shows that you run are with your BFF,
No.
Zain Hussain, who was a recent guest.
Yeah.
You guys have, very similar history as far as starting at about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely. Yeah, we started almost within weeks of each other. I think I was doing my third or fourth open mic when I met Zain, and he was doing his second. So we were right at the same time frame.
Yeah. Did you happen to listen to his episode and all the trash talking that we did?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
Was he talking crap?
He was talking a lot of trash.
Uh-oh.
No, he wasn't.
Can I say crap on this?
Yes, you can curse. Yes, this is a curse an open cursing show.
Nice.
Well, Carlos, welcome. I do have an official icebreaker question, if you're ready.
Okay, yeah.
One word to describe your past.
Oh, my past? Yeah, what's a good one? I don't know. What is a good word to describe my past? Just this is a good sound for it, probably. Just a big bomb. Just, I don't know. Yeah, I think, let's say spicy. I'm going to say spicy.
All right. Well, you're going to have to explain that now.
I think, my past is I think I'm like a nerd, but also I got into a lot of mischief, so I wasn't a straight on nerd. I was just a dorky person.
Uh-huh.
But then I would growing up, I would just accidentally blow something up with my friend. I had this one time, me and my friend, multiple fireworks incidents with my
Oh my
friends.
gosh.
I was having a Roman candle fight with my friend, and we set fire to some sawdust in his garage. We had to put that out. We thought we found a giant smoke bomb, and we set it off in the middle of their cul-de-sac, and it was actually a mortar shell for one of those like fireworks that go in the air.
Uh-huh.
So it just like exploded like a normal like fireworks show firework, just like right in the middle of the cul-de-sac.
Oh my gosh. No injuries?
No injuries. Well, one of my friend's hair caught on fire for a second, but we put it out and he was fine. But he cared a lot about his hair, so he was a little upset. But
Oh my gosh.
he conditioned a lot.
I don't think spicy is the right word. I think dangerous sounds like the right word to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so growing up, was comedy something that you paid attention to at all?
Yeah, definitely. Like I remember my like parents went on like a date night to go see some comedians or some comedian. I think they went to see Jim Gaffigan, and like I couldn't go because I was too young, and also I think they just didn't want to pay for tickets or whatever. But they came back and they're like, "Oh, it was just amazing. It was so funny and stuff," and it got me interested in it. So
Really?
I
And
started.
how old were you?
I was probably like 11 or 10 or something like that, and I started trying. I listened to Jim Gaffigan for sure because he was clean, and then for like briefly in Austin they had like a radio station that played comedy. I don't know if you were here for
I
that.
think so.
And I was obsessed with that, so I'd listen to that every morning on the way to school. So that's kind of my introduction to it. So I'd just kind of hear like a bunch of random comedians, and then
So you grew up in
Yeah.
Austin. So you're one of those rare unicorns.
yeah,
Okay.
it's weird now that like people are surprised when they find
Yeah.
out I'm from here. It's not usual for like most cities. If you move somewhere, usually you're like, the outsider. But now,
Yeah.
You know,
Now you're the outsider,
I'm the
even though
outsider.
you've been here the whole time.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so continue listening to comedy on that station, and were you continuing to like, if you heard somebody really interesting, you'd go like find more?
yeah, and like this was like when I think Pandora was a little bit more popular. So I would like put on Pandora like comedy radio stations and like listen to that to fall asleep to. So I just heard a lot of comedy, and then when I was in high school, I was really scared of public speaking and stuff. Or I was scared of public speaking before then, and I wanted to get over that fear. So I did an improv class when I was around 17, and that got me like into performing. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of improv itself, I liked making people laugh, and it helped me get over the fear. So.
Can I ask what school had an improv class?
Oh, it was Hideout Theater. That I didn't do it in school itself.
okay.
Yeah, it was like a extracurricular kind of thing.
okay.
It was outside of school. It was like my brother, he was interested in acting and stuff, and he wanted to do improv, and he was a lot more extroverted than me. And I was like, I'm going to try it too. I'm funny. My brother's there. He's funny, so I won't feel as weird.
Yeah.
And got into it. And Emma Holder was actually my improv teacher.
Oh my gosh.
Local comedian. Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's so funny because I've been thinking a lot about her and recently. I know that sounds really bizarre and random, but I know she is like such a presence in the scene, and I'm like, why have I not talked to her? So I've been thinking all day, okay, I need to write Emma and tell her, okay, I need to get you on the schedule. So isn't that weird, the world?
That is weird.
Yeah.
That was running around in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emma's really nice. She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's a funny person too.
Right.
She's really cool.
Okay. So you and her go way back, which is interesting because you you and Zain, and maybe just you sometimes by yourself, are on her show a lot, her What a Character show.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably a big reason too. We do it so often, and she invites us, and we're always like up for the challenge of like writing a sketch every month. It's pretty fun for us to like shake things up and not just do stand up all the time.
Yeah. So tell me about that first improv class, or tell me about that first moment where you're like, oh man, I'm totally over this fear of public speaking thing that I've had.
I think it was just because like improv was it was just like it felt like a game, and it was just like like 8 kids, and I had my brother there, and actually I had my cousin in that class as well, so it kind of like it helped to have like family there that I already felt comfortable joking
Sure.
around with, and then there was just like a small group of kids that were like enough to like give me feedback about I could hear them laugh, and then like at the end of the class we did a show, and I just like noticed that a lot of the scenes that me and my brother did or me and my cousin did went really well because we had that like chemistry and we were all like funny. I think my family's like hilarious. I get most of my sense of humor from them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It kind of just like eased me into it. Like just I got to dip my toe in the water of like performing in front of people in a very safe environment.
Yeah.
And then worked my way into actually performing in front of real people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because improv audiences are not real people. Let's just make that super clear.
Well, that one, it was like all the parents, it was all the parents of the kids. Yeah. So it didn't like.
A little biased.
Yeah. It was a very hot crowd for sure.
So, when people think about improv and taking improv classes, they soon realize that there's multiple levels of improv classes. What did you decide to do after you finished that first improv class?
After that, I didn't do anything. I didn't keep pursuing improv, and it was like a few years until I actually started doing stand-up. It was really like scary for me to do stand-up, and it like I probably thought about it for like a year and a half before I actually did it, and I was like writing jokes all the time in a joke journal, and so there wasn't really like that much. I just I finished high school, I started going to college for a little bit, and then like it was like in college when I was like kind of hating being in college and wanting to do comedy and get back into performing. I started getting curious about it, and I didn't know where to do open mics. I thought you could only perform comedy at comedy clubs.
Yeah.
So I was just signing up for the Cap City open mic like all the time once I was like ready to do it. And like they wouldn't put me on, because they're only putting on people that are already comedians and like occasionally a new person. Uh-huh. So it took me like months to get on it, and then I was just like, man, this is crazy. How do people do comedy? And then I finally did it, and actually my first time went like pretty well. Like my last joke bombed, but I did okay. And I was horrified the whole time and really anxious, but it was also like a really good crowd to do my first set in front of, because like Cap City had like the best open mic. Yeah. So, and they still have the best open mic, but yeah, it was kind of a weird way to get into it, I think, because I think so many people just do like a bar as their first open mic or something like that.
So what year was that?
That was, I think actually that was probably 2017. Okay. And then again, I still thought that was the only place you could do comedy. So I did like maybe 2 or 3 open mics that year. And then in 2018, that was when I actually like started doing comedy.
Okay.
Like late 2018
Yeah.
in like November or something like that.
Yeah. Now, the internet was invented in 2017.
Yeah.
So, was Google just not telling you
I
Austin comedy shows?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm not like super, tech savvy or anything. Like I'm not good at like
What kind of nerd are you?
yeah, well I'm not that kind of nerd. I'm like
Okay.
I like to do like Rubik's cubes and stuff.
Okay, you're an Austin comics
Yeah.
nerd. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
I like comedy. I play chess, I'm like I do other nerdy
Yeah.
things. But for whatever reason I just like can't I'm like so bad with computers. I can't use them.
What was it that happened that you decided, you know what, I'm going to start writing jokes?
I think it was just because I liked comedy so much. I listened to it all the time, and I started to develop like a taste for it, and like there were things like that would kind of inspire me, like when I would just be, you know, out and about and I'd notice something, I would just be like, oh, that would probably be like a funny joke if someone said that. And like, I also just kind of got to the point where I listened to so much comedy that I was like, I kind of like ran out of stuff to like, obviously I wasn't out of stuff, but like, it was like, I would kind of listen to the same things over and over again, and I'd try to find new comedians, but there wasn't enough comedy coming out to like feed that hunger I had to
Yeah.
just listen to jokes.
So at this point in our conversation, the only thing that I know that you liked is Jim Gaffigan. But that was obviously when you were 10, 11 years old. What
Yeah.
kind of stuff did you gravitate to at this point?
I really liked Kumail Nanjiani's album. I think he's only done one, and it kind of makes me sad.
Yeah.
But that one was really good. I liked like Kyle Kinane and gosh, there's so many, but like Sarah Silverman's like way up there for me. She's amazing. Maria Bamford. I liked Patton Oswalt a lot. Um, gosh. Oh, and I would listen to like Zach Galifianakis's Live at the Purple Onion all the time. That was great. And like the Comedians of Comedy tour like really made me like want to be a comedian so bad, because like it was so cool just seeing like Zach Galifianakis and Brian Posehn and Maria Bamford and Patton Oswalt, and they're all like hanging out and doing shows together and like making little sketches. Like that was kind of like exciting to me, the idea of being in a van with a bunch of comedians. So
So you were going to comedy shows and on top of listening to albums and...
not a lot of comedy
Oh.
shows, honestly. I haven't even really like. I mean, now obviously, because I participate in them, but like, I just in general wouldn't go to like that many concerts or comedy shows or anything, just because they were expensive. But yeah, I've seen like John Mulaney live, and that was amazing. But yeah, at that point I hadn't seen that much. I went out to like a few shows and like a few open mics before I tried doing open mics, just so I could get a sense of it. But yeah, it was like mostly I would just listen to stuff online or watch things.
Okay, and then so we get through the whole Cap City and their process in that first year where you realize, I'm not getting any traction here.
Yeah.
What broke open that world for you in 2018? Did you finally learn about Last Gas?
Yeah.
Okay.
I started
Alright.
meeting people. I think that was another thing. I was like kind of shy, so I wouldn't talk to anyone. And then I started meeting people in like late 2018, and I would, start breaking out of my shell and they would tell me like, oh, there's Last Gas that has all the open mics on there, and I started like just going on a daily basis, and I had like pretty nice routine set out where I would do, you know, basically every open mic that was available at the time.
Yeah.
Um,
And you know what? I just realized so you told me how that first one at Cap City went.
mhm.
Did the other ones, other than maybe the last joke bombing, did things like start hitting right away?
No, I bombed a lot after that one. Like I had my first one went really well, and then my second one was awful. It was like, you know, yeah, and I just had like so many just terrible sets after that, and I tried like experimenting with different styles, and they didn't
Yeah.
work, and they didn't fit who I was, and so I had like lots of incidents like that where it was just really bad, especially that first year. But yeah, I think maybe the reason my first set went so well was just because I had like thought about it so much, and I had like rewritten it a
Yeah.
billion times and ran the jokes by my family members a bunch, and like so it was like somewhat workshopped. But then after that, because I was doing open mics every day, I was just like, you know, it was just I was trying to write like new jokes for every open mic. It was kind of insane. That was
You fell under that cult
Yeah.
of thinking until you realized, oh, I don't have to do that.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had like such an insane work ethic where it was actually probably not good. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're willing to share with me, because I know a lot of new comics do try this. They try on different hats for size, right? They've heard Maria Bamford, they've heard Patton, they've heard Zach, whoever, and they're like, oh, maybe if I just try to be like them, it'll work. So are you willing to share like who's the most, who's the one that you knew when you tried to adopt that different style, or maybe not the who, but what is the wildest style that you feel like you tried that made you realize, oh, this is not going to work for me?
I tried to be like Louis for a little bit and tried to be like offensive, and it was like not be dark or whatever. It was like,
Yeah.
no, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I'm like, it just sounds like I'm serious, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It doesn't seem right, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think my vibe is like I gotta be like, I don't know. I like to just embrace my awkwardness, and I've been told a lot by people that I have like this like sense that I'm cocky but also insecure at the same time or something.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone for that at all. I don't see where they get the cockiness from.
Yeah.
But because I feel, super insecure. But I don't know. I've tried to embrace that and try to, not sound like other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think sometimes I fall into sounding like Nate Bargatze a lot.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, he influenced me a lot, and I think it's hard to steer away from that at times.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, do you consider yourself a clean comic?
Oh no, not at
Okay,
all.
all right.
Yeah, I sometimes try to be clean, like just for writing purposes, because like I want to make sure my joke is just funny and it's not because I'm saying cuss words or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I think like I have a dirty sense of humor, and I don't like limiting myself too much, but I'm relatively new to comedy, so I'm still open to changing in that regard.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pace ourselves because I want to get into 2019 and that year. Okay, so in 2018, you're doing a lot more open mics, and are you starting to get booked on shows? Are people noticing you?
Kind of. So I started like it was like November of 2018. So it was like
Okay.
I think probably I actually got a show at the Night Owl in like December of 2018 um, with Adam Waitman. He was booking it, and he like I don't know. He was awesome. He's still like super nice. I think
Yeah.
he moved
Yeah, he did.
recently, which was sad. But like he's always been super cool to me, and he saw me at open mics and thought I was funny, and gave me a chance to do a show, and also Zain, I think. So we did that show, and then there was like I did this other show with this guy who went by the name of Cornbread.
I don't think
And
I had the pleasure of knowing that.
yeah, I haven't seen him since probably 2019.
Oh, wow.
It's like I have his number in my phone still, but I haven't talked to him in a while. But yeah, it was like I did a show at like a fried chicken restaurant, and those were my first two shows, but it was like spread out over months, and like I didn't really get booked until after FPIA.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, holy crap, that's such the perfect teaser, because I just realized if you just really started hitting the mics hard in fall of 2018, 2019 was your very first FPIA.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That
Wow.
was my first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's make that our teaser. Let's do our little intermission. That's amazing. Okay, so pick a card and I'll read it off to you.
Okay. We'll do this one.
Oh, I'll read it to
Oh,
you.
you'll read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. Okay. Oh, interesting. The one who got away. ...
The one who got away.
You're so young. How? I mean.
Wait, do I have...
So you answer. It's an open-ended question thing.
The one who got away. Well, okay. There was this dog I found that I thought was like really cute. And I was going to name him Keeper probably. Because I was like, this dog's a keeper. But then I was like, you know what? The right thing to do is probably to go see if he's microchipped. And then, I went to go see, and he was. And the owners were super happy to find him. So I was like, fuck. I wanted to keep this dog. I think that's probably my answer.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
That is for me.
All right.
Hope it's as easy as that one.
When I noticed myself getting older, I...
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, the facts are established that I am old and getting older. I try not to be wistful about or, sad about, my youth is behind me and the stuff that I see 20 and 30-year-olds, which is, the game of comedy these days, that my time has passed. I really try not to think about that.
Yeah.
So I think that's where my brain goes, is try not to think about that in your 20s and 30s you could have been doing this other thing, but you did the things that you did, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think comedy, like, anyone can do. That's like, at any age, there's like, I mean, George Carlin was doing comedy until, like, the year he died, he was, like, ancient, and I don't know.
I mean,
But
I had a period when I was doing comedy, Zain and I talked about this. Like, I thought he was mean, so I wouldn't talk to him. And he just didn't seem like he would talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like I did comedy for a while until the pandemic. And I'm like, well, that's my angle, is because I'm old and I have different experiences than all the 20 and 30-year-olds or 20-year-olds that are, they only talk about masturbation and drugs.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about something different. I'm going to talk about my kid and being an old parent and whatever. So it's like, something for everyone, really.
So did you start comedy later in life, or you?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I started this podcast in 2016. I didn't do my first open mic, I think, until maybe late 2017 or maybe early 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was doing it for a few years, and then the pandemic, I just logistically wasn't able to do it.
Yeah.
And then by the time everything started opening up again, my teenager was in so many activities, and I'm
Mhm.
his only chauffeur, so I just
Yeah.
can't, you know. Doing open mics at 1, 2, 3 a.m. at night is not conducive to 6 a.m. swim practice.
Yeah, not at all.
So it's on pause.
Yeah.
I'd like to get back to it.
And I honestly feel like, like family and, things that are just more meaningful things in comedy, honestly. Like, I think that's why a lot of young people do comedy is because there's honestly nothing better to do. Like, we're like,
Yeah.
if 20-year-olds are all just like working at horrible jobs and they hate their life and they're like, I
Yeah.
guess I'm going to do comedy. I want to have something,
Sure.
and like, I think, I don't know. I'm getting married in October,
Oh,
and I'm
congratulations.
like, thank you. And, I love comedy and it's awesome, but like the more I'm like getting older and stuff, I'm thinking about just like, I don't know, what is actually enjoyable,
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
I love just like hanging out. I really like comedy is a lot of fun, but sometimes the like business side of it gets like gums up the works and like
Sure.
ruins the joy of it. And it's like I love to just enjoy the performing part of it and the writing part of it, and like the grind is a little tiresome for me.
Sure.
That
Huh.
I think it's a little overrated. All that
Hmm.
like getting out there and staying up late, it's like that gets exhausting. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just good to, you just got your family and you got a nice place. That's I think that's what life's all about rather than achievement.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, I appreciate that.
yeah.
It's nice to hear that because most anybody that I talk to is just going to be like, yeah, it's really cool getting booked on this or that and
Yeah.
getting this accomplishment. And it's like, yeah, it totally is. But
Yeah.
when you're in a different stage of life, sometimes other things
Yeah.
take precedence.
Yeah. Your priorities change for sure
Yeah.
throughout life. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean either that if you walk away from it, you can't go back to it. To me,
Exactly.
there's no handbook for comedy.
Totally.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think any creative pursuit is just like awesome,
Mm-hmm.
inherently. But it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It should be just for your enjoyment, not
Right.
for like, oh, I made it. I'm rich and famous now.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so let's go back to now this even more amazing fact that the first time I saw you, because that shy demeanor that you have must be why I never saw you at an open mic. I
Yeah.
must have seen you at an open mic, but you're just so quiet and your jokes are kind of a smooth burn kind of
Yeah.
thing. They're very low key, and you have to really pay attention to
Yeah.
the twists.
Mhm.
And the first time I saw you was at that 2019 finals, your very first friggin' FPIA.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea what an accomplishment that was?
I had like a sense of it just because I had like I was definitely super nervous going into FPIA because of how important it was to everyone, and like I didn't realize at the time too like that would be like the last year, that FPIA would be this like thing that's like just an Austin thing. Like I don't know, like now the scene has changed so much
Yeah.
that there's like a lot of people from out of town that don't even understand like how big of a deal FPIA is. And they're
Right.
kind of like, oh, yeah, there's other competitions. And I'm like, yeah, but this one's like the competition. This one's like a big deal.
Yeah.
And like, that year everyone was like everyone was nervous. Every comedian I knew was like, so like excited, but also like they were, going to more mics, they were writing more, they were being like way on top of it, and that was all everyone talked about. So I was definitely super nervous, and I had no expectation of doing well at all.
So the first night you advanced from prelims,
Yeah.
you were like, what just happened?
Yeah, that was crazy. And it was like it was a really good lineup that night too. I was like just kind of like, okay, yeah, there's all these really good comedians on here, like there's no way. Like it was just that, like there were just all these like people that like ran shows and stuff, and like I wasn't even getting booked. So I was just like, all right, I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to bring all my best jokes. And I tried to make sure I like also connected them, because I felt like that was important. Like I was like, okay, I write a lot of jokes about death, so I'll just like do all my death jokes and just have them all connect that way. And I think it helped my writing a lot, because I never did that before. I just kind of had like little chunks of jokes.
Yeah.
And I'd never thought about like who I was as a comedian, like as a whole. And then at FPIA, I was like, all right, let me take stock of what I've done and try to compile it into like the greatest hits of my open mic shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So semifinals,
Yeah.
you advance.
Yeah.
Are you starting to kind of freak out a little bit?
Yeah. The prelims, I just felt like, whoa, this is exciting. And then the semifinals, I was like, oh, like, they made a mistake. They shouldn't have done this. But I feel like, I don't know, like the semifinals, I don't know which one I was like the most happy with in terms of like my performance. But for the overall, like the whole competition, I was like, I think the main thing on my mind was like I was so excited to be performing in front of like 300 people.
Yeah.
Because the sound of the laughter was incredible. Like it was the best feeling, and I'd only done like a show in front of maximum 30 people, so, and I already loved that sound of laughter, so like when you're in an actual comedy club and you feel like a real comedian and you're hearing like all of that, I was just like, whoa, this is awesome. Yeah.
I watched your 2019 final set to refresh my memory today, and that was solid. And I mean, I remember thinking, who is this kid? But by the end of your set, I'm like, that was really solid.
Yeah. I felt like that one was probably my most solid of the three performances. Because, like, I think the first, like, the prelims and the semifinals were a little bit messy. But, like, they were, like, a fun messy.
Yeah.
And then on the finals, I was, like, really, like, feeling not very, like, confident in the, in myself, and because I was just like, okay, I shouldn't be here. And and I think I got a little bit more polished on that one. But it was actually kind of nice, because I think the tape is good for like sending out, since it was so polished and I didn't do anything that was like out of the ordinary.
Yeah, yeah. And then your world kind of blew up in terms of all these people have had their eyes on you and notice you, and people who book shows are like, oh, that was really solid, dude.
Yeah.
Come on my show.
Yeah.
Was it kind of overnight sensation kind of situation?
Yeah, it felt like it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I felt like I was, like not ready in some ways. Like I was just like, the people are gonna find out that I suck.
Oh no.
And and I was doing all these shows a lot more at like Cap City and stuff, and that was like both really cool, but also like I was kind of beating myself up a lot if I messed up, and like I think I was like a little bit scared to be as experimental as before, and like write as much. But I like also just I enjoyed getting like that much stage time too, and I eventually I think started to learn to roll with it a little bit better, and then the pandemic happened. So it was like completely like screeching halt,
Yeah. By 2019, did you start dabbling into doing shows yourself, running shows or creating shows?
Yeah, I think, I was kind of trying to do that even before FPIA. I was trying to like start open mics and stuff, but they would always fail, or, the people would be like, oh, like we'd have like someone say something that was like way over the line
Yeah.
at the open mic, and then the owners are like,
Nope.
can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like tried and failed a few times. I don't think I really got a good show going until with Zain. Like when I started doing shows with him,
Yeah.
we started doing stuff at like the Taos Co-op West Campus. We did this show called This Is a Cult, and it was like basically the same as business hours in a lot of ways. Just like real weird alt comedy, but maybe a little bit more chaotic because it was just in a co-op. So
Yeah.
we had like access to a projector, and like we would do these like weird power slides, crazy little sketches.
Now that I've sat down with him and sitting down with you, now I can really you're getting the brunt of my comparison questions now.
Yeah.
So you have a YouTube channel that has like 6 videos on it.
Yeah.
They're all stand-up videos. Zain has these weird, artsy, just really weird videos. Plus he's got his Nadim Store Instagram account, which is just bizarro kind of concept account. And I'm trying to figure out, between the two of you, who's the weirder one? Who's the like, okay, the creative weird sketches and doing odd projector slides? Like, of the two of you, who's the weirder one? Who's the one bringing that weird energy?
I think Zane's definitely the weirder one. He has that weirder sensibility, but also like, I mean, I think I have it, but I don't really do that much stuff on the internet. Like I don't make that. I have a bunch of weird videos, but they're all unlisted. And 'cause I don't know. I think Zayn, he has like a lot of like courage with his creativity, and he likes to put things out there that are really weird, and I think he's a lot more like entrepreneurial, I guess. Like he's usually the one that starts shows, and he has these like big ideas and stuff. But I don't know. I think we work really well together, because I think sometimes I think he gets a little too like crazy. He's just like, I just want it to be a mess.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, let's try to kind of shape it into this direction, because I'm getting the sense that that it would be funny if we did this, and and then he's like, well, that's selling out. I make fun of him because I'm like, you're like Kurt Cobain. You're like, you just think you're so cool, with your
Wait, what's wrong with Kurt Cobain?
He's great.
Okay.
I just mean like, because he's like,
Oh,
Zayn,
you're like
no,
Kurt
yeah,
Cobain.
yeah.
Got
Zayn's
it, got
like
it.
Kurt Cobain. He's
Yeah.
all
weird and
artsy.
Yeah,
I don't want to sell out. It's too successful. He was like worried about business hours getting too successful for a little bit. He's like, why are all these? He was like upset there were so many people showing up. Like, and I was like, yeah, it's a cool show. It's pretty fun.
So you channel and direct the weird energy into something that, I don't want to say works, because his weird energy could work, but you channel it so that it most definitely works.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's.
I'm not trying to
done
set up
stuff. He's done stuff like that's without me, and it's been like really good. And he's done stuff with like other people, and it's awesome. And I just think like, it's like our combination of, like creative differences. Like we sometimes get into it about things, but then at the end we're like, oh, you know what, like I see your point. Let me try to incorporate that into like what my idea is, and then it ends up being something that we're both like kind of surprised by, and we're like, wow, that's actually cool, you know? Because I think like, you know, maybe for something like business hours, you know, Zain really wanted it to just be this like, at least my perception of what I thought he wanted from it. It seemed like he wanted it to be almost like a meme, you know, like he just wanted to do it just because he was like, this is going to be so funny to do a comedy show in a convenience store, and like people are going to be walking in and they're going to be confused. And like and it is funny to do that.
Yeah.
But then like also I was like we could make this like an actual like hub for like, you know, like shows and stuff, and people would actually come out to this and watch. And what ended up happening was both things happened. We got a huge audience for it, and it was doing really well. But then also people would walk in and they would be like, "What the hell is happening?" You know. And then we'd mess with them and like be, you know, talking to the customers that were trying to buy stuff. And then, but there's like an audience there, and they're, you know, they're all like eating it up because it's like just so weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like I think we both kind of elevate each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it frustrate you to be kind of lumped in with him at all?
No, I don't think so. I think Zane's like really cool.
He is very cool.
And I feel like it makes me seem cooler than I'm friends with him. Because, you know, I don't know. I think I seem standoffish, or maybe like I'm judgmental or something, because I'm just shy and quiet, and
Yeah.
I don't usually like approach people. So yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what people think of me, but I just, you know, I get the sense that maybe people are like, maybe he thinks he's better than this, you know? I don't know. I don't know what it is. But like with Zain, he's like, you know, he's like cool, and everyone, you know, he's like a very friendly person, and I think when they see me like with Zain and they're like, "Oh, I love Zain. Zain likes Carlos, so that Carlos must be cool," you know? So I'm meeting more people,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I'm struck by how both of you are very thoughtful about like your whole comedy experience and existence.
Yeah.
So that's got to be part of the rapport that you both have.
Yeah. I think we both care more about just like having fun and stuff than
Yeah.
like trying to, you know, make money or get famous or anything like that.
Take
I
over
think
the world and all that
yeah,
stuff.
I think we're both a little bit lazy. And you know, I don't know, like
Yeah.
we just like playing games and stuff. That's like kind of our jam.
Yeah.
You know.
So how did you get involved with a character show and starting to do like actual sketches?
Yeah, I think it was, you know, just Emma was starting the show, and she was like, "Would you and Zayn be into doing the show?" And I think she had intended for it to be like one person does a character, and they just kind of are on stage for a few minutes. But we were like, we kind of want to work together, and she was like, "I guess that's cool." And we've kind of, I mean, we still do weird characters, or like we try to make like one person the weird character and the other one's kind of the straight man. But yeah, we were just, I don't know. I think just Emma was, you know, look in the market for people to do it, and she was like, "I know you guys have done improv, you've done sketch." She, you know, she knew us, so she was like, "Let me see if they want to do it."
Have you done more improv since that first class?
Not very much.
Okay.
I actually, me and Zayn, or like Zayn started this like improv class at like a senior activity
Are
center.
you doing that too?
I did it one time. I like sat in as like an additional instructor. It was so fun. It was the best. That was the last time I've done improv.
Yeah.
And before that was probably a few years.
I want to go back to one of the original things that you told me about being afraid of public speaking. Do you feel like you've gotten over that with all of these different experiences you've had?
I don't think I've gotten over it, but I've definitely not like as scared about it at all, or like even close to it.
Yeah.
I don't think I could like say I have a fear of public speaking anymore, more than any like a regular person.
Yeah.
I am scared of like public speaking if it's like in a serious sense. I think the laughter kind of helps me get through it. Like if I get that feedback that like
Sure.
people are enjoying it, then I don't get in my head as much. But like, yeah, I think I'm still pretty scared of like just talking in front of people. If it's in just like if I was just giving a presentation on like, turbines or something. I don't know.
Is that the first thing people think of you, Carlos? Let's invite Carlos where we've got to talk about turbines.
Yeah, we got a turbine seminar. I don't even know what a turbine is. That would be a nightmare.
Yeah, if you don't know, I hope people would know not to invite you to talk about them.
Yeah.
What, since your life is about to change with getting married, what do you see for yourself in the future with comedy? You already said that, sometimes priorities change, but what do you see for yourself?
Well, I definitely, I want to keep pursuing it, and I want a career in comedy. That's like my goal, is to just be able to make money off of doing that. But I think like, it's like, I think I want it all to be part of like an overall plan of like what I want my life to look like. And I think, a few years ago, I would have just been like stand-up comedian or nothing. No woman's going to get in the way of this. I'm on my grind. I'm just going to, whatever it takes, I'm going straight to the top. But I'm like, I think now I'm just like, my expectations are a little bit like more reasonable. I think like I just want like, I want to have a house with a yard. And I want to do some gardening and be able to have time to do some hobbies. And I want to be somehow involved in doing comedy. Like if that's like being a writer for a TV show, if that's like, I don't know, I've thought about like I've kind of started writing a book that's like, I want to include like drawings in it, because I like drawing too, and I've thought about doing like comic books and stuff too, but I want to just do like funny stuff. I just want to make like write a funny book with lots of dumb pictures in it. That's like maybe like Captain Underpants for adults. That's kind of my idea.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't really have like a particular thing where I'm like, I gotta sell out Madison Square Garden doing stand up. I think I just want to be funny and use my talents and have it all fit into my lifestyle without going too crazy.
When did your perspective change from the highs of finals of FPIA, COVID, and then the return of comedy in Austin?
I think it's been like all of those three things. Like it's been COVID, it's been FPIA, it's been just like returning to comedy in Austin, and like everything's like changed a little bit. There's just
a little bit.
There's a huge boom, and like all these people are here,
Yeah.
and there was like shows that were starting when like the pandemic was still happening.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, you come back and there's like people that are like, hey, I'm like the big shot of Austin. I'm like, you just moved here. I don't even know who you are, man.
Yeah.
I am FPIA finalist material. No, I don't know. But yeah, I think also, like, I'm just kind of annoyed by like comedy on like Instagram because everyone's like, and I respect it. Everyone's on their grind. They're trying to make it, and that's cool. But like, it's kind of like tedious to like, just post stuff just so you can be relevant on the algorithm, and you're not really inspired to make anything. You're just kind of like, oh, let me just do some dumb thing that's not even that good. Like I don't know. I care more about like just doing stuff that I feel like happy about and that it makes me laugh. I'm not, I don't, if that leads to anything, that's great, but I don't really want to like be just like selling my soul, for the sake of, I don't know, 1,000 followers.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm at 1,011.30. So, and I haven't sold my soul.
Yeah, but you're doing good things.
Wow, thank you.
You're doing big things.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's bad to like be doing well.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't, for just like, I don't know, a small amount of fame, I don't see the point in doing stuff that I don't feel happy about. I might as well just have a dumb job, I want comedy to be fun.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know.
Would the Carlos of your younger years, when you were listening to so much comedy and absorbing so much of it, be surprised at how just kind of like, comedy's okay. It's, I want to have fun with it. I want to be creative, and I'm not chasing the big dream of being one of these big name comics.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know. It's, I think it would be weird because like, I don't think the teenage Carlos would be like, I think you'd be like, what? You do comedy?
Oh.
What are you doing?
Oh, that's true.
Horrifying.
Yeah. Because it wasn't until you were 17, right?
Yeah.
That you were, you tackled that.
Yeah. So it would be pretty shocking. And then I think, but I don't know. It seems true to me. I'm not very ambitious. Well, maybe that's not true. I think I am ambitious, but I'm just not like, I don't know. I'm ambitious in different ways. I want the personal growth.
Yeah.
That's what I want from comedy. I want to get better because it makes me a better person. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I'm like most happy about with comedy right now. It's like that, at one point in my life, I was like so scared to like talk in front of people that I wouldn't do it. I had a speech class in high school and I got a 3 in it out of 100.
Carlos.
Because I just didn't do any of the assignments. I was like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not doing it. But now it's like, I do comedy all the time. I talk in front of people in terrible situations where they're drunk and mean, So that's a win.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and truthfully, in the long run, you're much better suited to just be a happy person with your life mm-hmm. and your lot in life, because you realize there's got to be balance to it all. Like chasing the 4 to, we both agree. Yeah. Sometimes the hustle of the 4 to 5 mics a night, if you're like just dead set on the hard work and the payoff that in theory should happen. Yeah. That's fine for somebody. But if you're just into achieving balance in life across many spectrums, when you're older, you're going to be a happy person. Yeah. Versus going through a grind, possibly being very disappointed if it doesn't pay off. Yeah. On the other hand, you could end up on, Saturday Night Live. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I want to see where it takes me. I think like so far I'm pretty happy with like what I've achieved, and like I feel like if I stopped doing comedy right now, I would be like, pretty happy with what I did, for like, just because of like, I know myself and like, that was like insane that I even tried doing stand up. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm happy that I have done it, and I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
So that just means that there's probably going to be more things that I achieve in the future, but I'm not going to like, feel like I'm a loser if I don't get those
Right.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
In almost your own words, write your own book.
yeah.
Write something that ultimately makes you happy, that you are still able to exercise that creative part of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, this really got deep and philosophical.
Totally.
Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want people to know about you?
I don't know. No, I don't
Is
know.
it an open bar wedding? Are we all invited?
Not well. It is open bar. Not everyone's invited
Oh,
though.
man.
You're invited though. You can
Ooh,
come.
my first comedy wedding. Do you know how long I've actually been? No, I mean, you're
Yeah.
under no obligation, but I've seen, obviously, over the years of covering comedy, I've seen, comedy couples get married, or comics get married. They're not always, a comedy couple.
Yeah.
And I'm always like thinking, maybe one day I'll be invited. But then I realize
Yeah.
I'm never where all the comics are,
Yeah.
because I'm out here living the parent life. And it's like, I'm never going to get an invitation unless it's like, I don't know. I'm just never going to get an invitation. So I'm just
Yeah.
putting it out there.
Yeah.
Please invite me to your comedy wedding.
I can
Someday.
totally do that. I haven't been invited to a comedy wedding either.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't know.
No.
I don't know what it's about. But
No. Well, we know they're out there.
I've only invited like 3 comedians so far to this wedding.
Is Zain invited?
Zane's
Oh,
invited.
okay.
He's one of them.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a pretty short list, honestly.
Yeah. You're going the small wedding route?
Yeah, trying to. Me and my fiance Julia, we both have like pretty big families, so like
It's tough.
yeah, it's tough to be like, yeah, the entire comedy scene, come on, because it's like, yeah, we're already,
no.
it's too much.
Yeah.
We got tons of family and friends that aren't comedians,
Yeah.
so
Stay the course with your
Yeah.
plan, for sure.
we don't want y'all doing 5 minutes at our wedding. You're like, let me give a toast,
Yeah.
and then they're like, have you guys tried this wedding food or what? I don't know whatever jokes they do.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Well, exciting future ahead for you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
From that regard. Yeah, very cool. All right. If there's nothing else, are you ready for my closing question?
I'm ready.
All right. One word to describe your future.
Spicy.
Okay.
Spicier. How about that?
Spicier. I like that. Please, less fireworks and
Yeah.
threat of harm.
Yes.
Will you promise me that?
I don't know if I can promise, but I can try.
Okay. As long as you try.
Wait, is there an explosion thing?
Oh, probably.
Well, there's just a bomb, but I already did that. There's a drum roll, though. All right.
Well, that is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents. Carlos Morrison, tell us where we can find you and promote your projects.
You can follow me on Instagram at Carlos Amadeo Morrison, or you can visit my website, carlosmorrison.com. I have a new show called The Buddy System, the first Friday of every month at the Velveeta Room. It's going to be the 10 p.m. slot, so keep an eye out for it. It's pretty good.
And what's the idea behind the buddy system?
The Buddy System is like the Newlywed Game, but for friendships. It's celebrating friends, and I got my friend Zain that we've spoken about a few times, and me and Zain write all the questions for the comedians, so we try to make it like as weird and dirty as possible. And we have comedians on that bring their friends, and they get into little shenanigans on our show.
Sounds fun, and you're practicing that writing, so that's awesome.
That's right.
Okay. Any other projects?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Carlos got to be the comedic genius you heard today just as much as I have. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Carlos Morrison. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I don't know why I paused. Mike, do you want to close out with a sounder?
Oh, yeah.
Find a good one. Perfect.